All right, everyone, good morning and welcome back to Archeage 101. This is the start of Semester 2, Lecture 1, Battlepets and You. I am Jalan from the Paradox Gaming Network. As always, if you need to get in contact with us, you can go to our webpage or you can email us directly. You can hit me up on Discord or you can join our Archeage 101 Discord server, which is starting to get very popular with some people that have a lot of questions on a daily basis. You'll usually find somebody in there that can give you some sort of answer. And before we get started, I want to let you all know that I have another 15 squirrels to give away. The giveaway form will be posted in the description below. It'll also be posted at paradoxgaming.net. All you got to do is go in, put your official forum name, and hit submit. At the end of the month, I'll be giving away the glider code. Please realize that if you don't put the right forum name in, I can't find you. So make sure you put your actual official forum name in so that you can get your code if you win. So as always, here are our objectives for the day. We're going to talk about battle pets, where to get them, some best options and some worst options. We're going to talk about battle pet leveling, and then we're going to talk about battle pet armor. So not a really long topic today, but a pretty important one. As an outside resource, there is a very, very in-depth forum thread on battle pets, and I don't like to reinvent the wheel, so I am not going to reinvent any of this data. That link is really long. I'll put it in the description, but just if you want to clip over to it in a hurry, it's been tiny URL'd for you at AA101 Pets. To give you a quick look at it, unfortunately, it has been around for so long that PhotoBucket has taken out all the pictures. But the important part is when you come to the stats, you can see all the stats that the pet is going to have. And if you really need to see the picture or the data, you can click on the link and it will show you. Big thing is it shows you the buff before you ever go out to capture the pet, and we're going to talk about capturing in just a second, but this goes all the way down for a good portion of all the battle pets that you can get in the game. Hasn't been updated for a few of them, but this is a huge source of data if you're thinking about which battle pet you want to get. So where do you get battle pets? You can buy them from the auction house, the marketplace, or from NPC vendors. NPC vendors is mainly just the battle cat and the wolf. Marketplace sometimes has some really good ones, sometimes has some just what are you thinking battle pets. And off the auction house, this is going to be the same as if you catch them. Some people catch them as a business, and it's not a bad business when you really think about it. You need to not constantly be trying to sell pets, though. Otherwise, you're going to drive their price down. Also, I forgot to add one other place is you can get the one from GHA. There is a battle pet drop off of the last boss. Quest rewards. This, of course, is like the Grim Reaver that some people have because of the event Tryon did not long ago. Or you can catch them, which was the list of battle pets I was just showing you, and I'm going to talk about that in just a moment. Now, on the topic of catching world bosses and turning them into battle pets, a relatively simple process. I've shown you both nets, both the mythic and the legendary, and don't let their names confuse you. They're basically the same recipe. The only difference is a long time ago, Topaz used to be insanely expensive. Personally, I think it would have just been easier if they had one net for all the world bosses. But each net tells you which world boss the net is relevant to. Now, I want you to see the really big, important piece. Success is not guaranteed. If you're going out there with your heart set on capturing Flamelord, you need to make sure that you bring several nets with you. The reason why is the first one isn't going to work in most situations. You need to be able to tank the boss pretty solidly, and this, if you can just get a paladin or a cleric, they should be able to hold the aggro on the boss. You drive the boss's health down to under 10%, I find 8% works really well. It allows for a little bit of extra damage to be applied and not kill the boss, but the boss has to be low. And then somebody tries to use the net on the boss. Now, another thing is if you're going to try to capture a world boss, bring several guildmates with you, or friends or family members. Make sure they all have a net, because if you try and you fail, you're going to have a debuff. But basically, you beat the boss down to sub 10%, try to use the net. It'll either capture the world boss, or it'll fail. If a bunch of people in a row have nets, they can go in order. If you're out there by yourself, you're going to have to be able to tank for a minute while you run your debuff off. So to talk about your best options for a battle pet, pound for pound, I recommend new players get the polar bear. I talked about it in a different video. It's cheap, it's easy to get, it's easy to armor. It will work really well with any dropped armor. You can get armor out of Serpentis or Croller's Cradle. It's just going to be a simple, easy way for a new player to get a very solid battle pet to add some DPS or some tanking options. There are 2 battle pet versions. I have the tanking option. Its middle ability is Your Mother Was a Hamster, which is a taunt for 5 seconds. I use this in the library when I'm soloing side rooms, because some of the floor 2 side rooms just continuously stun you, trip you, lock you down. Well, I put my bear on one side of the floor boss and I stand on the other, and every 15 seconds I taunt with the bear, so the floor boss turns around, giving me 5 seconds to do what I need to do. While it's not still available, I have put the Squire on your best options list, because if the Squire ever becomes available again, you need to figure out a way to get a hold of him. He is pound for pound the best battle pet, in my opinion. I do battle pet PvP with people, and I have numerous battle pets. And even when my pets outgear the Squire, my pets lose on a consistent basis. The Squire is something I will say I honestly regret not buying. And then my third that I put down on the slide is the Violet Bloomfang. The Violet Bloomfang is still in the marketplace. Couple of things. If you're wearing the helmet, it gives you a 1500 health buff, which is really nice. You also have the ability for every minute and 30 seconds, you can click the buff and you get damage received down by 30% for 3 seconds. This is really, really good if you're tanking, say, Ages or Whale Song and the damage is just starting to become overwhelming. Generally, I just pop it on auto use because I'm taking consistent damage. The next couple of battle pets I'm going to talk about aren't currently available. You might find them on the auction house if somebody has one wrapped and they decide to list it. But keep your eyes open if any of these do catch your fancy, so that you can be watching for re-releases by Tryon. And the first one is the Lava Spark. I'm a big fan of the Lava Spark because it's very similar to the Violet Bloomfang in that it gives you 1200 health and mana. It also has the 50% shield for magic and physical damage for 2 seconds on an 18-second cooldown. Now, I know right away people would be like, well, everything you've said about the Lava Spark makes it better than the Bloomfang. 2 problems. Number 1, the Lava Spark's currently not available. Number 2, the Lava Spark can be killed like any other battle pet. The Bloomfang isn't targetable, can't be killed. A couple other things that the Lava Spark has is some magic damage. It also kicks it 5 meters out of range, which can buy you a few seconds. And it's self-heal. And like the polar bear, it has a taunt, but the taunt isn't as good as the polar bear's. Usually it's taunt and the mob turns and then turns right back to you. So the next pet I want to talk about is the Grim Reaver. Also not currently available, but a lot of people ask me why I use this pet. I don't really use it anymore. I used it for the aesthetics, and I used it because I tried to figure out a way to apply this pet well. The problem is it has this standard buff that's negative 30% for one of the two damage types, magic or physical. But the problem is that it then debuffs it by giving a 70% increase in the opposing damage. So right now my pet takes 30% less physical damage, but it takes 70% more magic damage. Well, at 14.8k hit points, a God's Whip is just going to eliminate this. Even if I were to fully buff this pet and give it as much health as I could, this isn't going to give it health, but we'll do it anyway. And then I activate the shield. It has about 22,500 health total. Even if we pop this over, even with the 30% reduction in magic damage, even though I have a set of mountain on it with 3% from the enchant and 3% from the gem, so you're talking 36% reduced damage, it's going to die to a God's Whip. So it was a fun pet to try to get, and in some situations, 1v1, this is a good pet to have. It will totally shred a mage if it can get on top of a mage, due to the fact that its critical rate goes up and it has a natural critical rate. And it also, the reason why I run the mountain on it is I like to use this as a pursuit pet. So it's 8.1 on its move speed, and I can get the pet's move at speed up to about 11. Yeah. I like this pet for a pursuit pet. However, even in that role, it's not the best possible pet. If you're looking for a really good pursuit pet, you've got the Hellhound. The Hellhound I like because it basically can nullify Dark Runners who like to drop back into stealth. If the target is under track and it tries to stealth, the Hellhound will run it down and see it through its stealth. It's kind of nice. You can increase its melee damage by 50% for 10 seconds. That's always a good one. The fact that it can move speed up 50%. So this is another one that I flip that epic armor to for the move speed to help it stay on top of targets. Not as much hit points as other pets. I'm just going to throw these on for you so that you can see. Right now it doesn't have very decent gear, and I'm not actually sure if it's wearing any gear. Let me see. Oh, it's wearing standard red talon. It's got 18,000 hit points, which puts it kind of low. But the nice thing is it all received damage is at 25% less. So that's a pretty good trade-off. If I were to put some decent armor on him, again, he is a very good track and retrieve pet. Last but not least, the Black Scale. I do like this pet as a variety because it returns melee damage, which is always fun. It does the basically the drown in horror thing. It's got its couple of heals, or it's got its heal, it's got its poison, so and it's got its debuff. This is a good debuff pet. The problem is, again, they die so easily that without a good set of armor, people are just going to take out these pets. As far as your worst options, the Conqueror's Cube. This is just a novelty battle pet. A lot of people were excited that there was going to be this battle pet that did magic damage and could keep doing magic damage even when retreating. And the problem is these things like die in a hit. Anybody can kill one of these. They're pretty unreliable. If you're looking for a ranged battle pet, you're going to want to go with the Flame Lord or the Wind Lord. At least that way you can put a little bit of gear on them and make them a little bit more survivable. Now, how do we stop our battle pets from dying always? Well, the first is that we get them to level 55. Now, this is going to be a very, very painful process. However, if you need to go into the library anyway to get some mats, you might as well throw your battle pet out. If your battle pet is really low level, keep it on stay and throw it in the doorways. Your battle pet will get XP for the entire room, even if you leave it in the doorway. I have found it very useful to just throw a mount and a battle pet in the doorway, level them both at the same time. The other thing is the Companion's Growth Stones. 30,000 XP per crack. You can get these by going into dungeons with somebody level eligible for the dungeons. So I go into Hadir's farm with a level 30 alt and just kill all the bosses real quick. Get about a dozen Companion's Growth Stones. If for some reason another ×3 XP event comes out, absolutely try to have a pile of these Companion Growth Stones for any of your unleveled pets, because each stone then gives the pet 90,000 XP, and that chews up levels in a hurry. Now, I talked about the Battle Pet armor. It's much better to regrade at Craftsman. Try to go for that Epic or Legendary. Now, I know a lot of people are like, wow, I'm going to go for Epic Battle Pet gear. That's going to be expensive. It's really not. It makes the pet rather powerful. If you pick the right set, you match the gear with the pet's abilities, and you can get the Battle Pet armor for pretty cheap up to Epic. I think I've done Epic sets for less than 1,000 gold for all 3 pieces, so it's really not that bad. In order to regrade, as always, you need regrade scrolls. These are actually different. These are pet accessory regrade scrolls. So it's just a blank regrade scroll, 25 Earth Mana leaves, and 2 memory ink. And as always, the blank regrade scrolls, they need a proficiency. The pet accessory regrade scrolls do not. So you can buy a bunch of blanks if you need to. Or if you remember from other videos, there is a way to make the blanks for much cheaper than this price. And that is use a multi-purpose workbench. You actually save a ton of Dawn's Likes while doing that. And so here's basically the top 3 Battle Pet armors for tanks, magic damage, and melee damage. You got your Flame, which is crit damage and attack. You've got your Wave, which is magic attack and skill damage. And you've got your Stone, which is received healing and skill damage. Healers, there is a ton to be said about having a tanky battle pet with Stone on it, especially if you're running Quake Antithesis. You stay on top of your pet stays on top of you, and it just becomes a nightmare for somebody to kill you. So to come in a game real quick, and we'll come down to Stone. And I know that 1.2% skill damage and 6% received healing doesn't seem like a lot. However, getting an Ephirium set isn't that bad. Received healing 15%. And then the trick is you can actually put the Honor enchant of 10% received healing onto this. So you're basically giving your pet 25% more healing from each of your healing spells. Now think about this. You put Mirror's Light on your pet. I'll pull out my pet real quick. So I put Mirror's Light on my pet, and it's going to get 15% healing. I give him the 10% enchant. That's 25% healing. Show you one more time. We come in here to Stone, and we go down to Ephirium, and it's at 15%. So you're basically looking at 45% increase on your healing. So my Antithesis is going to do 5.4k. And if we do some public math, we do 5,400 times 1.45. That's 7830 healing, non-crit for the pet. That's pretty good. I mean, if you're standing on top of this pet's fighting with you. Every time you heal yourself, you heal the pet. That you're gonna be keeping that pet alive. You're gonna really become a nightmare for a single person. If you can just keep them locked down, stay within 5 of your pet healers, that's your ticket to being able to do a little bit of open world. So real quick before we finish up today, I just want to show you when you're making the gear. You're going to need the bells from the different dungeons. This is why I recommend regrading at Craftsman until you get it to Epic. Basically, you don't want to be wasting these bells. They're not hard to get for the first few pieces. Palace Cellar for the first 2. Burnt Castle, Hadir Farm for the next 2. Illustrious is Howling Abyss, so not even hard. Magnificent, you'll notice that you went from 3 to 5, but you also went to Krolos Cradle. Krolos Cradle is a nightmare for most people. It's kind of difficult to solo for lower level people. So you're going to want to make sure that you have this is at Epic or better before you start asking people to come in there with you, because you're going to need quite a few bells to get past the Magnificent part. Epherium is easy. It's Greater Howling Abyss. Greater Howling Abyss is easy. And then when you get to the Delphinads, you're going to need Greater Krolos Cradle. This is going to be another one. A lot of people don't go into that dungeon because they don't enjoy it. But if you had the piece at Legendary, you would want to take it all the way to Delphinad. It'd be worth the price. And then your pet would become pretty much a little monster. As you can see, I only have Conqueror's Flame right now because I've been working on other things. But at Conqueror's Flame, you're getting a pretty decent critical damage and attack bonus. I'm going to throw the buffs on my bear for people who haven't watched the other video. People are like, the bear sucks. Stop telling people the polar bear sucks. It has feelings. You see that attack of 720. That's a pretty solid attack. Its abilities are doing 2k, so that's more physical damage than the healer himself is doing. For low level characters, as you can see, it's not a lot here. I've basically made a nice companion that's going to be able to help you out a lot for not that much. So as always, today we talked about battle pets, showed you where to get them, talked about your best options, and I talked about a couple of battle pets that you might try to get if they ever come back. And then your worst option, stay away from that Conqueror's Cube. That Conqueror's Cube is trash in most everyone's opinion. If you need a ranged pet, get a Windlord or a Flame Lord. Battle pet leveling, do it in the library. Stock up a bunch of those companion growth stones if we ever get a ×3 event back. And then battle pet armor. Figure out which armor you're going to need. Make it at Craftsman, regrade it to Epic, and then level it up as you go. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, ironic musings, feel free to leave them in the comments. And when I get enough comments, I'll either do another video on those comments, or I will just do another Q&A video. Hey, you. Yes, you. Yeah, you. I'm talking to you. Hit that subscribe button. Watch a couple of more videos. Go check out our website.